Hey everyone, welcome to another good e-reader drop test. My name is Michael.
This is Peter.
And basically what we're doing today is checking out the Sony PRS-T2. This is the e-reader that most people have. And the purpose of our drop test is to see how well does an e-reader survive. Peter, what exactly are we going to do?
Well, we have our e-reader here and this beautiful whiteboard behind us with a 3-foot marker and a 5-foot marker. What I'm going to do is simulate a pocket miss. That's if you're going to put it in your pocket or your purse or your handbag. You miss, it hits the ground. I'm not going to try to aim it for any particular side. I'm just going to drop it. From the 5-foot, it's going to be a little more controlled. We're going to do a back, a side, and finally a screen drop from the 5-foot marker.
Undoubtedly, we've all seen people rock broken iPhone screens or broken iPad screens. The big question is, how does an e-reader survive going through the exact same process? And again, this is concrete, so we're not dropping it on a hardwood floor or carpet. This is concrete. This is pretty well the worst thing that you can do to an e-reader. So without further ado, let's go with the first test. Okay, let's go in for a closer look.
So the e-reader is still working, so that's a bonus. But we see that on the corner we have a gigantic 2 by 2 millimeter chunk cut right out of it. We also have damage on the bottom corner and just a little bit of pitting along the side now because it did hit the concrete on the side and bounce on the top. What we're going to do now is move on to our 5-foot tests.
The 5-foot test basically simulates it falling off a table or when you're holding it up and reading it and it just slips and falls, because a lot of people read with just one hand and not two, so it's pretty easy for it to fall. So the 5-foot test, we're simply going to drop it and we're going to see what happens.
Undoubtedly, you're not going to go any higher than 5 feet unless you're tossing this around. I mean, never is it really going to be this high.
Or you're like LeBron James.
Exactly, yeah. Okay, all right, we'll do a back test.
So it bounced from its back on top of the screen. That didn't really sound that great. Let's go in for a closer look and see if any damage occurred.
Obviously, because it dropped on concrete, you get a little bit of chips here and there. That sounded a lot worse than it actually was. Most of this is just ground dust. But as it flipped over to the front, remember these are they're sunken in about 1 millimeter. They're not flush like the Tolino and the Kobo Aura. So chances are the screen is going to be fine, but it looks like the back got scuffed up. But let's move on to the side test.
Next test, just dropping on its side, and this seemed to have taken the most damage thus far. Let's see if from the 5-foot mark, what type of things we can do to this e-reader. Oh. Let it grip. Well, it didn't sound so bad.
Top left corner suffered 90% of the damage of that last drop. It's a huge chunk missing from it, and it's starting to separate. The front of the bezel and the back battery cover are starting to separate, but it is still working, and it is still a usable e-reader. So, final test, right on its screen.
When you drop a device, the worst thing that you can do is drop it right on its screen. You look at a lot of iPad and iPhone and, you know, smartphone users, a lot of the cracked screens occurred because they dropped it right on its screen. So we're going to test to see if dropping this right on its screen does any noticeable damage. Well, didn't look that bad, but let's go in for a closer look and evaluate the damage.
So the front, although you expect it to be the worst, because the screen is sunken in, you actually don't get too much damage on the screen itself. It looks like the screen is intact entirely. We have, all the buttons have a little bit of nicks on it because they're the closest thing to the surface. We have big scratches, a lot of peeling plastic. The device got beaten up pretty bad, but it is usable at this point.
As an added bonus drop test, Peter is going to drop this Sony PRS-T2 from the 15-foot mark. Peter, let's drop this sucker and see exactly how much damage we can inflict on this. That did not sound good.
Looks like it was a success, if that's the way you want to look at it. The reader is completely cracked open on the top left corner. However, it is still readable. So even at the extreme height of 15 feet, this device is usable.
We've all run over the odd kid's toy, or maybe your briefcase is on top of your car, or maybe your Starbucks coffee mug. You forget, you drive, you run something over, it falls off. Really, what does it take to destroy this Sony e-reader? What happens if your kid was reading it and then you drive over it with the car? Let's check it out and see if this could actually make the Sony e-reader rest in peace. Peter, are you ready?
You can see that my entire car just ran over this e-reader, and it still works. I'm actually surprised. I thought it would come out here and it would not work, honestly. It's good to go, and you know, this is just as a perfect giveaway e-reader at this point too.
Peter, no bones about it. We put this e-reader through hell. 15-foot drop, driving over it with a car, in addition to the simulated pocket mist from 3 feet, and all of the different ways that this could possibly fall. This e-reader took a licking, and it keeps on ticking.
It is an ultimate survivor. I mean, this went under a car. It's a working e-reader. There's nothing in the daily life that you can do with this, except for maybe submerging it underwater, that will break this.
Don't give us any more ideas.
I mean, we could go all day and strap a couple bear scares and some dynamite on this and blow it up, but realistically, you could drive over something, and if you leave it in your yard and you drive over it, it still works.
If you have kids, everybody's experiencing that.
Exactly. Yeah, if you can think of any way you want us to maybe destroy this in a grand finale, let us know. But as it stands, day-to-day life, Sony T2. It's a
yeah, I mean, all the Sony PRS-T1, T2, T3 e-readers, they're high build quality. We've put other e-readers through less, and they've either ceased working or just broken. And this speaks for itself. So if you're looking for a durable e-reader that will match your lifestyle, no matter how active it is, check it out. Thanks for watching, everyone. GoodEreader.com video. Michael and Peter, everybody take care.
Yeah. All right. And boom! Shoot! Oh my God! I panicked. Look at all. I wasted 7 rounds. What am I jumping over? Oh man! I don't care! What am I doing? Oh! I have 1 bullet. How do I do a headshot? Like, how do I decide to do a headshot? No, don't get all shaky on me now. Where's the dog?